Hi, it's Jenny from Stampin' Jenny. Today's project is using the gorgeous Curvy Christmas stamp set, and I'm using the Curvy Dies. I've been having a lot of fun playing with these beautiful products over the past week. I'll be sharing more on my blog and on Facebook very soon, but I thought I'd create this card with you today. So let's get started. If you're watching on YouTube, just to be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any projects. And on YouTube, if you hit the bell, you'll get the notifications when I post. So come on, let's get started making this card. I have already cut the cardstock. We'll start with the crumb cake. You have 10.5 by 14.4 is the size, or in inches 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. It's a standard base. We've got the standard base white card, which is 21 by 14.8, and I've scored that at 10.5, or 8.5 by 5.5, scoring at 4 1/4. You can make these any size that you like, but with the mats, but I thought we'd just create them just slightly smaller than your base card. So you can use those measurements as a guide. What you'll first want to do is, I don't know if you can notice on this card, I have embossed this with the Subtles embossing folder. It just adds a little texture to the card mat that's underneath. So I'm just going to go and run that through the die cut machine. So just slip that in your folder, and remember when you're going through a machine to put that fold going through first. That just helps take off the pressure of your folder. So I'll just run and do that now. Okay, now we've embossed it. Let's have a look. I always love opening the folder and just seeing that embossed impression on the cardstock, just giving you that card, that extra texture, which I think is really great. So we'll put the folder aside. Now we've got the card piece. I'll bring in those pieces of cherry cobbler, your white, and your piece of the designer series paper. I love this classic Christmas designer series paper. There's so many great prints in the pack, in the cherry cobbler, excuse me, the shaded spruce and the crumb cake, and all those festive patterns that are available. It's similar prints throughout, but you've got them in each of the colors. So I'm going with the stars on this one. Now let's have a look at the Curvy Dies. I just wanted to show you a couple of tips with these. These dies, you've got the scallopy type one, you've got the curvy one with the dots. Now when you want to cut your die, just check which way your cutting edge is facing, because it's going to make a difference to how it turns out. So we want to see the scallopy edge, so just position your cutting edge facing down. I'm just moving that just a little bit up from the bottom edge. You'll run that through a couple of times. Then with your white, you're the same with the white. You want to just check where that cutting edge, so you get those dots. So have the cutting edge on the lower part of the die. You'll cut that out. And then we're going to do the same with the paper. So we'll run to the machine and just cut those out. Okay, we now have all these cut. We've got the cherry cobbler, the white, and the crumb cake. So we'll now get our stamping done. Let's have a stamp. Another tip I wanted to show you is when you're putting your stamp on the block, you want to, before you ink it up, just line it up with what you're creating with the curve so it can match. You can sort of roughly get it to fit. You can always, being photopolymer, these are great because you can just lift them up and just slide them up into the curve or the shape that you want. So I've already done that, but I just wanted to show you how you can easily just lift these and move and get it to a fairly similar curve. All right, so let's just glue it all together first. Get our adhesive. Now I'm going to adhere it all together onto our crumb cake first, because there might be some overhang when we're lining it up, and we can just trim it up. All right, so grab our adhesive. And run that around. Can position that onto there. Hope you can see that. Sometimes I always seem to get it out of shot. All right. Okay, now we're going to put our white. I think I'll stamp that first before. It's always a good idea to stamp before you stick it down, because if you make a mistake, you can easily get another piece of card. If you've already stuck it down, then there's a big problem. And so I like to just give that a bit of an ink. So I really love the sentiment in this. May your days be merry and bright. Right, just stamp that just on the curve there. Now, once that's done, then we can glue the white onto our cherry cobbler. Just line that up just above, following the curve of the cherry cobbler. And then we can add a piece of crumb cake paper. I'm not going to glue the whole section of paper because I need to trim it up, and we don't want to get that all over the trimmer. I've just wiped some of that excess glue off that we had there. All right, position that down. It's a little bit out of alignment, but we can trim that, so don't stress about that. Just put that into place. All right. So now we are going to get our trimmer and just trim that down, because you'll find that's just above our crumb cake, because the crumb cake will give us the guide that we need. So just, I can see the edge of the crumb cake there. This little trimmer is so good. Will cut through several layers. And I'm just going to trim up the edge there too. All right, so all our die cutting is done. Our paper is together. We can now stick that onto our card base. So just run your adhesive around again. And position that onto our card base. Because of all the thicknesses, you just want to hold that into place for a bit, just so it can dry. Give that a good amount of pressure there. All right. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? I do that every time. I forgot to add our beautiful lace trim on it. Doesn't it always happen? So when you're creating this card, before you stick your crumb cake piece to your white card piece, just wrap around your lace trim. It's beautiful. It just adds that little softness and elegance. So you know what we're going to have to do? We'll wrap it around the whole card. And that's okay too. It's just if you don't like to see that inside the card, you want to put it down beforehand. Never mind. These things happen sometimes when we're creating, and it's all okay. All right, I'm just going to tie that in a bow. All right, just pull those little loops in a little. And trim that down. I haven't used this lace much but lately I think just with this bundle of products, it's just beautiful. Right, so let's get to our bow now. This is a sweet little bow that's on this set. And I love all the other images. You've got the stars that can create just a nice little starry background. The trees, the sentiments are really lovely. You've got a few stars and the snowflakes there and the greenery. So I'm going to do the bow and I'm colouring it with the Stampin' Blends. I'm using the Cherry Cobbler for the Stampin' Blends. So we'll just ink that up, move things up. You're probably totally out of shot there. Who knows? All right, stamp that down. Now when we're colouring, I'm just going to add a little bit of the dark first. You can start with light or dark, but I will use the fine tip because it's only a small area. But I just wanted to add a little bit of the dark there and just add in a couple of things. Just think about where the shadow lines might be. You can always build on what you've got. And then bring our light blend in and go over those. Blend the light in with the dark. How's that? Now, if you want, you can go over that too with the Wink of Stella pen and just add that little sparkle. I've done that on some other cards too. All right, so we will need to trim that out. There is no die to do that, but you know, we're just cutting is quite relaxing, don't you think? Just using some fine scissors, just cut around the bow, leaving a white edge. And if you want to build up a little bit more depth of colour, just go over that with some more of the dark and the light blends. We'll leave that though for today. When you're cutting too, it's better to turn the cardstock rather than turn the scissors. Just gives you a little bit, I don't know, smoother edging. When you're turning scissors, it can be a little bit jagged. It doesn't take long to cut this little bow out. Quite a sweet one, really. All right. Okay. So now we can finish our card. Let's bring that back in. I'm going to use dimensionals for adding your bow. So just add some of those little mini dimensionals there. Pop that on near the curve, which is nice. And then I also want to add a pearl just for some more elegance. The adhesive pearls, and pop that down on your card. All right, so now you have an elegant curvy Christmas card. But I've done a variation of this for a birthday. So let's bring that one in to show you. So we've got our Christmas and our birthday. So I've used the same layout, and I've used a different print in the classic Christmas paper with the dots, which is sweet. I've used some more of that lace, the scallop trim, and wishing you the happiest birthday. And I love this little leafy die cut that's on the bottom. The little bird from the quite curvy set is coloured with the Stampin' Blends as well. So just with both layouts you can create those two cards. So if you like the bundle of products, be sure to check them out. Check out my curvy class, which I've just been advertising. I'll post a comment about that where you can register. There'll be a few different projects in the class that I'm offering. All these products are available now in my store. So if you're in Australia, you can pop on over and I'll add the link for that. So I think these are going to be really fun products to play with. Just keep in mind the Curvy Christmas and the paper is only a limited time. That is only available till the beginning of January. The Quite Curvy stamp set and the dies will be available in the 2021 Occasions catalogue, which starts on the 5th of January. So, but it's great that we have these available now. So I hope you like the projects. Get our little Curvy Christmas cards going. And I hope to see you back here soon again with another video. Have a great day. Bye.